Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to learn how to make the open shell stitch bralette. I choose to call it that because it's made of the open shell stitch and we've made a bralette out of it, so the open stitch shell bralette. Oh, the open shell stitch bralette. Yes. So the materials that you will need for this project are yarn. The yarn that I'll be using for this project is Katopu natural cotton, baby natural cotton, and it's 100 grams and 200 meters, and I needed just about one ball of this yarn to make the full project. And then you also need a 2.5 millimeter crochet hook. This one is going to be working on the bra cups. And then you also need a 3.5 millimeter crochet hook. We shall switch to this hook, the 3.5, when it comes to the lower body of the top. Then you'll also need a darning needle, a pair of scissors, and a measuring tape, and that's basically it. And 3 stitch markers. I have one here, but make sure you have about 5 stitch markers because we shall need them later in the video. If you don't have stitch markers, you can use pins or whatever is available to you. Then the color that I'll be using for this project is white, so let's jump into the video and get started. So we're going to start off with creating our bra cups. This will be the first part of this tutorial. And I don't know how many bra cup tutorials that I have, but I'll be just giving the general instructions for the bra cups, just like I always do. So you're going to grab your 2.5 millimeter crochet hook and your yarn, and you're going to make a slip knot. For a slip knot, you yarn over your yarn like this, just twist it like as if in ribbon form, and insert your hook into that loop that you've created. Hold, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through, and then you can pull on the tail that you wrapped around. So from here we are going to make a chain, and this chain should run from the middle of your breast all the way to the base, and for me that is a chain of 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So this will work for a size medium. So for extra small, you're going to do a total of 14 chains. For medium, a total of 16, large 18, and extra large 2XL, you're going to do a total of 20 chains. Now we're going to make a double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook. So we count from this one, 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into the 4th chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2, and that will be our double crochet. We're going to continue to double crochet until the 2nd last chain. So yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, you'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. So repeat that until the 2nd last chain. So we've reached our 2nd last chain and we have only 1 chain left. We're going to yarn over to prepare for a double crochet, and into that last chain we are going to make a total of 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. And then from here you're going to make a chain of 2, and then you're going to place 3 more double crochets into the same exact chain. So one, 2, and 3. Alright, now we have our stitches worked into the last chain, and that should bring us to the opposite side of the bra cup. Now we're going to yarn over and go into the next chain while working around that tail that we left behind. So just hold it along this side like this, so that you're working around it, so that we can weave it in as we work. So go into each of the next chains on the opposite side, placing 1 double crochet into each. Alright, now we're coming to the end of the row, and we're still placing 1 double crochet into each chain, and don't forget to go into the very last chain, which is this one, because it also counts as a stitch. So once you have this, now we're going to start working like this, back and forth in a U shape. Now we're going on to row 2. So row 2, you're going to make a chain of 3, which counts as our very first double crochet, and then you're going to prepare for a double crochet and go into the next stitch with 1 double crochet, and then continue to place 1 double crochet into each and every stitch until you reach the chain 2 space on top of the bra cup. So I'm placing my last double crochet right before the chain 2 space, and now into the chain 2 space, as you can see here, into the chain 2 space we are going to place a total of 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. So after this, you're going to go into each of the next stitches with 1 double crochet into each until the end of the row. Alright, now you should see your bra cup starting to curl, or it's getting a curve. Please don't try to stretch it and eliminate it completely. This is how we are going to get coverage for our bust, and it's going to create room for the breast. So just 1 double crochet into each stitch until the end of the row, and this is what we have. Just hold the tip and stretch a bit, but don't get rid of this curve that we are getting here, because we need the breast to sit into this space comfortably well. Now from now on, we are going to repeat row 2 until we get the coverage of the bra cup that we want. I'll be letting you know how many rows that I did for my bra cup. Let me just continue to chain 3, turn, and repeat row 2. So 1 double crochet into the next stitch and all the way up. When you get to the chain 2 space, you place 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets, and then double crochet all the way down to the end of the row, placing 1 double crochet into each stitch until the end of the row. So just keep building your bra cup until you have the coverage that you need for your bra cup. I won't dictate how many rows that you'll be doing for your bra cup, but I will recommend how many rows that you should have roughly for the different sizes. Alright guys, now we are back and I did a total of 8 rows for a size medium. So these are the recommended rows that you should have for the different sizes, but you can add 1 or 2 depending on the fitting that you're going for your bra cup. So after this, after your very last stitch, you should see your bra cup folded like this, like as if a bra, and it's ready to accommodate something into it. It shouldn't be flat. So after this, you're going to make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn, and you're going to go ahead and make an identical bra cup, and I'll meet you back when you have 2 of them, just like I have right now. Alright guys, so after making your very first bra cup, you will just chain 1 and cut your yarn. Now you're going to make an identical bra cup, just like the first one, so that you have 2 of these. And once you're done with that, don't cut the yarn off the second bra cup. Alternatively, if you want to cut it, then you're going to leave a very long tail, because this tail is going to help us join the bra cups onto the lower part. So just leave a very long strand. I'm going to cut from here because I know this is just way more than enough to join the 2 bra cups onto the lower panel. So you can see the loose end that we've left onto the first bra cup is very short, and this one is very long. And now we're going to start the lower panel, then we shall attach everything together later on. So you're going to grab your hook and start off with a chain of 40. This should be a multiple of 5. So start off with a slip knot, and you're going to make a chain of 40 or any multiple of 5. If you're a size large, extra large, then you're going to make a total of 45 chains. And if you're 2XL, you're going to make a total of 50 chains. So after your slip knot, you're going to make your chain. So I have my 40 chains here, and now I'm going to go into the fifth chain from the hook. So count from this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then into the 5th you're going to place a double crochet. So that will create our very first V-stitch. And now we are going to make a chain of 2, skip 4 chains, so 1, 2, 3, and 4, and into the 5th you're going to place a V-stitch. So 1 double crochet into it, chain 2, and 1 more double crochet into the same chain. So we've created our second V-stitch of the row. So chain 2, skip 4 chains, and then 1 V-stitch into the next chain, and a V-stitch is a double crochet, chain 2, and 1 more double crochet. into the same chain. So we're going to repeat this all the way across. Chain 2, skip 4 chains, and into the 5th you're going to place a V-stitch. Chain 2, skip 4 chains, V-stitch into the next chain. So repeat this until you have a total of 5 chains left on your row. Alright, now we have a total of 5 chains left, and we're going to make a chain of 2 and go into the very last chain, which is this one. Skip the 4 chains, and into the last chain you're going to place 1 double crochet, chain 1, and 1 more double crochet into the same space or into the same chain. And your work should look like this. Now we're going on to our next row, which is row 2, and we're going to make a chain of 3. This is going to be the row of shells. The first row is the row of V-stitches. So now the next row, which is row 2, is going to be the row of shells. So you're going to make a chain of 3, which counts as a double crochet, turn your work, and into the first V-stitch, which is this one, you're going to place a total of 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Like that. Now into the next chain 2 space, which is here, the space between the 2 V-stitches, which is this one, you're going to place a single crochet. So just insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all. And then into the next V-stitch, which is this one, you're going to place 7 double crochets into that V-stitch space. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So after your 7 double crochets, you're going to go into the next chain 2 space with 1 single crochet, and into the next V-stitch you're going to place 7 double crochets, which is this one. So you just go into the space of the V-stitch and place a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And that's all that we are going to repeat across until we are left with only 1 V-stitch, which is this one. So work until the second last V-stitch, and I'll meet you back to show you how to wind up your row. So I am done placing my last 7 double crochets into the second last V-stitch, And after this, I am going to go into the next chain 2 space, which is this one, with 1 single crochet, and into the very last V-stitch, this one here, you're going to place a total of 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that marks the end of row 2. And this should be the right side of your work. Where the shells face is the right side of your work. So let's go on to row 3. You're going to make a chain of 5, which will count as a double crochet chain 2. After this, you're going to turn your work after a chain of 5, and you're going to place a double crochet into the very first stitch where the chain 5 is coming from. You're going to place 1 double crochet, and this will create our very first V-stitch. And then you're going to make a chain of 2 and go into the middle double crochet of the next shell. You're going to skip over all these stitches and go into the 4th double crochet of the next shell. The 4th double crochet should be the middle stitch because the shell has a total of 7 double crochets. And you're going to go into the middle one with a V-stitch. And remember, a V-stitch is 1 double crochet, chain 2, and 1 double crochet. And then you're going to make a chain of 2, go into the middle of the next shell, into that middle stitch, which is the 4th stitch, and you're going to place a V-stitch in there. From here, you're going to chain 2, go into the middle stitch of the next shell and place a V-stitch. Then you're going to make a chain of 2, do the same all the way across until the second last shell. So V-stitch into the middle stitch, chain 2, V-stitch into the middle stitch of the next shell, Alright, so we've reached the second last shell and we have a half shell here. So you're going to make a chain of 2 and you're going to prepare for a double crochet by yarning over, and you're going to go into the top of the very edge, chain 3, and you're going to place a V-stitch there. So 1 double crochet, chain 2, and 1 more double crochet. So this will mark the end of row 3, and you can see we have the edge V-stitches, and this should bring us to the same number of V-stitches that we had for row 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So let's go on to row 4. Row 4 is going to be quite different. We're going to make a chain of 3, turn our work, and into the very first V-stitch you're going to place a total of 7 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So once you have your 7 double crochets, including there's also the chain 3, so that means this is a total of 8 double crochets. Then from here you're going to go into the next chain 2 space with a single crochet, 7 double crochets into the next V-stitch. So I hope you still remember how we worked row 2. Just do 7 double crochets into the V-stitches, 6 and 7, and then from here you're going to make 1 single crochet into the next chain 2 space, and then 7 double crochets into the next V-stitch, and then 1 single crochet into the next chain 2 space, and you're going to repeat this all the way across, and I'll meet you back towards the end of the row. Alright guys, so I'm coming to the end of the row and I've placed my last 7 double crochets into the second last V-stitch, then 1 single crochet into the next chain 2 space. Now into the very last V-stitch you're going to make a total of 8 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8, and we're making a total of 8 double crochets just because we have a total of 8 at the beginning here, and we want to balance exactly what's happening on this side onto this side. So let's go onto our next row, which is row 5. Row 5 is going to begin with a chain of 5, which counts as a double crochet chain 2. Turn your work, and we're going to go into the very first space, which is this one, the very first stitch of the row where the chain 5 comes from. You're going to go into the first stitch and place 1 double crochet in there, and then from here you're going to make a chain of 2. You're going to skip over the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th you're going to place a V-stitch. Now we've started increasing our halter top. We're going to start increasing the sides. As you can see here, the top is taking another direction, so if you see this happening, this is what it's supposed to be. Don't get scared about that. So after this you're going to make a chain of 2 and go into the middle stitch of the next shell, which should be the 4th stitch or the 4th double crochet, and you're going to place 1 V-stitch in there. And then you're going to make a chain of 2, V-stitch into the middle stitch of the next shell, and repeat that all the way across until the second last shell, and I'll be back to show you how to wind up your row. Alright, so I've placed my last V-stitch, my second last V-stitch into the second last shell of the row. Now you're going to make a chain of 2 and into the last shell, into the here on the last shell. Remember, we have a total of 8 double crochets including the chain 3. Now you're going to skip over the first 3 stitches, and into the 4th you're going to place a V-stitch. And then from here you're going to make a chain of 2 and go on top of the edge chain 3, and you're going to place 1 last V-stitch there. So 1 double crochet, chain 2, and 1 more double crochet into the same exact space or into the same exact chain, and this will mark the end of our row 5. So your work should be slanting outwards because we are now creating the coverage for the bust and also increasing so that we can get our bust measurement. So after this we are going on to row 6, and row 6 we are going to start off with a chain of 3, turn our work, and we're going to go into the very first chain 2 space. The row 6 is going to resemble row 2. So you're going to just make a chain of 3 and then go into the very first space or into the very first V-stitch, and you're going to place a total of 3 double crochets. That's all. And you're going to go into the next chain 2 space with 1 single crochet. Then you're going to place 7 double crochets into the next V-stitch. And from here you're going to go into the next chain 2 space with 1 single crochet, and we're going to repeat this all the way across until we place our second last shell into the second last V-stitch. Okay, so I've placed my second last shell into the second last V-stitch. Now the last shell is going to be a half shell, just like we have at the beginning of the row. So after you single crochet into this space, you're going to go into the very last V-stitch, and you're going to make a total of 1, 2, 3, and 4 double crochets into the very last V-stitch. That will balance out what we have on this side. Now, as I had mentioned earlier on, row 6 is basically row 2. So we're going to repeat from row 2 to row 5. So now that we've finished row 6 that resembles row 2, the next row is going to be the same as row 3, and the next row will be the same as row 4, the next row will be the same as row 5, and just keep repeating the sequence. I'll be leaving all the timestamps in the description box below so that you can follow along easily. So remember, we are repeating from rows 2 to 5. So guys, I worked the lower panel until I had a total of 13 rows total, and you should end with the row that has the V-stitches, not the shells, because the row with the V-stitches gives us a flat edge, and that's what we are looking for. So after your 13th row, you're going to go ahead and make a very long chain on this side. Now we're going to create the straps that are going to go behind the top. So after row 13, you're going to just make a long chain of about 150 to 200 chains. So instead of 200 chains or 150, I ended up with 100 chains because 150 would be so long, considering the fact that we are also going to attach a strap on this side as well. So 100 chains, chain 1, cut your yarn, like that, and then we are going to attach our yarn onto the opposite side into this V-stitch on the edge. Just go into the space like this, Or if you want to be more accurate, you're going to go into the third chain of the V-stitch, and we're going to attach our yarn and make the same exact number of chains that you have on this side. So I'm going to make 100 chains and come back and show you what to do next. Alright, so I have my 100 chains on both ends of the lower panel. Now you're going to reintroduce your bra cups. So get your bra cups and place them like this. So we're going to find the exact middle of the lower panel. So I'm going to just count the V stitches inwards until I get the exact middle point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the exact middle part of the lower panel is at this point. So that's where we're going to assemble our bra cups, and we're going to make sure our work is on the right side. Guys, make sure your work is on the right side, and the right side is the side that faces where the shell row is. So on this side where the shells are on the right side, that's the right side of your work. And you're going to place your bra cups like this, and now we're going to evenly distribute the rows of the bra cups into this row of the V stitches. So since I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16 rows across the base of the bra cup, and now we have a total of 1, I'm counting the middle space as one of the spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So what I'm going to do is, I think, just eyeball and distribute the number of rows of the bra cup onto the lower panel. So you're going to need some stitch markers so that we don't distort the shape of the top. So one, the stitch marker that goes into the middle section here, and then get your next stitch marker, the one that goes into the middle section like this, and then the one that goes onto the edge. So I'll consider this one like that, and that's how I'm going to attach. Now I'm going to just eyeball and place stitch markers onto the opposite side as well. Once you determine how to place the very first bra cup, you just eyeball the same exact thing. So place your first stitch marker into the middle, and now we're going to count 1, 2, 3, and into the next space, 1, 2, 3, into the next space. You're going to attach the exact middle of the bra cup, and then the one at the edge into the second last space. So you can see what we have right now. Now we're going to go ahead and attach our bra cups onto the lower panel. So get your darning needle, and at this point you're going to just pass your yarn through the loop that you left behind here. It's like a chain one, and then pass through the loop. So we have this strand that we left behind, that very long strand. It's the one that we are going to use to join the bra cups all across the upper row of the lower panel. So we're going to just start attaching, just eyeball. You don't have to do any science or any math. Just make sure your bra cup is evenly placed. So I can remove this very first stitch marker, and I just go ahead and keep joining, making sure that you don't distort the shape of the top. So we've reached the exact middle, and I'm going to join until the middle space where we have our hook. It's this hook that marked the exact middle of the back panels, of the lower panel, sorry. So I'm going to remove that needle there, or hook, and I'm going to continue to join until the exact middle of that space. So that way we have placed our very first bra cup onto the lower panel. So you're going to remove your next stitch marker and just do the same exact process for the second bra cup. So we are attaching the very end of the second bra cup, and now we are done attaching both bra cups onto the lower panel of our top, and this is what we have. Now you're going to just weave in this tail. Properly weave it in and cut your yarn. Now that I'm done with this, we are now going to go onto the straps, the upper straps of the top. So this you can do any way you want. You can just make a normal chain, a very simple chain, which I'm going to do, I think. If you want a more detailed video of how to make sturdy straps, I'll be leaving it on the screen for you guys to try it out. But for now, I'm going to just attach my yarn onto the upper corner of the bra cup, single crochet into the same chain 2 space, and then make a normal chain of about 100 chains. So I have my 100 chains. I'm going to chain 1 and cut my yarn, then pull through and fasten off the chain, then cut off the excess end. So you're going to just go ahead and do the same exact thing on this side. Alright, so after your second strap, you're going to get your darning needle and weave in the tails. We have these tails that we've created for the straps. You're going to just go ahead and weave them in. And weave in any other tails that you see around, and then I'll show you the final look when I'm done with this. So we are done weaving in all our ends, and this is the final look of the top. Let me show you how it looks like on my dummy, and that's basically it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Make sure you give it a thumbs up if you did, and I can't wait to share with you my next project, which is still going to be the open shell something. I can't reveal it right now, but we are definitely going to get another design of this pattern. So yes, this is basically it. I hope you enjoyed this one, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more interesting videos, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.